Good morning. I get to talk to you about the life-changing magic of community investment. When I was in school, there was a movie called Bill in 1981, and it really inspired me to want to do volunteer work with community organizations that supported people with developmental disabilities. Up until that point, I didn't really know anyone that had any developmental disability, and sometimes when I would encounter individuals that might be in special needs classrooms, I was unsure how to address them and a little bit uncomfortable. So I thought that volunteering would help me be more familiar and gain some comfort. This is a picture of one of my first volunteer activities, and this was a weekend camp in Colorado. I was assigned a camper. Her name is Kathy. She actually took the picture, so isn't in the photo. And Kathy had spina bifida and used a wheelchair. The counselor told me, make sure you're careful as you're going through a lot of uneven surfaces with Kathy, and take care, she's a veteran. As soon as the counselor that had been far more seasoned than me left, Kathy said, all right, now this is what I want you to do. I want you to push me as fast as you can, and there was a little hill. And I was like, I don't think I'm supposed to do that. She's like, trust me, I've done this every year. I'm really looking forward to it. So I didn't want to disappoint. I grabbed Kathy. We're going down this hill, and predictably at the bottom of the hill, there's a little turn. We tumble. She falls out of her wheelchair and is laughing hysterically and says to me, you are going to be in so much trouble. And needless to say, I was not in trouble because apparently this was the way that she broke in new counselors. But that weekend, Kathy and I really bonded and found that we had so many things in common, far more than our differences. And Kathy taught me not to be intimidated or uncomfortable with approaching people who have developmental disabilities or in a wheelchair. And it was experiences like that that I really credit with inspiring my vocation, from overseeing global talent acquisition, where we hired 4,000 people a week all over the globe, to being the chief diversity officer at a Fortune 500 company, and then finally to overseeing people and culture at Workfront. So I look at that as the impact of community investment. You might be listening to that and saying, that is a great story, Laura, but how does community investment change lives for a company? Well, much like I was uncomfortable initially with approaching people with developmental disabilities, due to the gender gap in technology, there is often a lack of understanding of what it is to have women in technology. It results in things like women not being invited to go on a business trip because they have to take care of the family, or the perception that they won't even be asked, or being the person who is asked to arrange the birthday party. Most commonly, it's taking notes in meetings. And so community investment really helps in three key areas. One is it fosters understanding. The second is it sparks loyalty. And the third is it builds talent supply. So fostering understanding, and I saw Jeff talked a lot about the Women's Leadership Institute. This is a panel from the Women's Leadership Institute. What I value about these women's community organizations is that they engage men. It is absolutely imperative that men be involved in this conversation and feel comfortable and safe asking questions. Can I talk about the same things when I'm in a group of women? Can I give someone a compliment? All sorts of different things that are on minds that can create barriers if they're not addressed. This panel for the elevator panel includes several men and women. Again, really creating that understanding. Once you have that understanding and you've included the men in your organization, then you can spark loyalty, which is retention and engagement. I was stunned by the statistic in the gender gap report that everyone received, that after 12 years, half the women in STEM have left their careers in STEM. They've gone on to work other places, but half have left because of workplace climate, as well as lack of promotion and pay opportunities. What community investment can do, and does do, is it introduces you to a network of people, even outside of your company, so that it's easy to see yourself in certain roles. This is SheTech. This is our team at SheTech. One of the most memorable moments for me at SheTech was watching a panel that included a venture capitalist, a CEO, and even a rocket scientist. These are roles that growing up I did not see women in. And it is so inspiring to see that, to hear the stories, and to think, I can do that too. And that's the power of community investment. As we've leaned into community investment, engaged the men in the dialogue, included them in events like Workfront, the Women's Leadership Institute, as well as SheTech and other events, that's created a significant reduction in our female attrition. And then last, it grows talent supply. You must have the first two in order to effectively grow talent supply. Because if you're pulling women in and they're leaving just as fast, with social media, you're not going to pull the women in. I love what Sydney Tetro said in the report, that there is a distinct line of organizations women will work for and organizations that they won't. And community investment broadcasts your brand and tells you and tells the population, women are welcome here. As a quick story, we partner with an organization called One Refugee, which helps refugee families gain education and careers. We did a day where we had over 50 participants in One Refugee come in to our office, and they did a variety of roundtables, resume building, that sort of thing. The below picture is our CEO actually talking with a few of the participants. There was a young woman in one of the CEO roundtables that heard our CEO say, there is a need for engineering talent. We do not have enough people to fill all of our open roles. And Yvette Zenzinka is her name. She went home and she changed her major to engineering. And now she works for us as a tech support representative. So that's just an example of the magic that can happen from community investment and impacting talent supply. We have been able to attract about 6% more women since we've started really leaning in to our community investments around women. So just a last thought for you. The way to change the world is through individual responsibility and taking local action in your own community. And just as Kathy changed my life so many years ago and created a whole vocation, I'd ask all of you to look at the life-changing magic of community investment and make sure that you continue to support these organizations. Thank you.